What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Crew 2, and in this video I'll be showing you the Infiniti Q60 Project Black S concept, which I want to see how this car is going to do compared to the other street vehicles, because we can all agree there's a lot of them, and we're seeing this car out in the game recently. I'm wondering how this thing's actually going to do overall, so we can all agree this car is definitely awesome looking. Remember when this thing was actually shown a while back? Kind of crazy that they actually put it in the game here, but nonetheless, if you're wondering if anything can be customized, you cannot do absolutely anything to this car whatsoever, and in Vanity, you can only add a horn to it, so you can't add tires or spokes or anything, which kind of makes sense. I mean, this car is a concept, and it already looks absolutely insane with the carbon all over it, the yellow, the color. This thing looks absolutely amazing. I really do like the look of this Infiniti. Pretty cool, because I actually know someone that lives near me that actually has a red one, so seeing the concept, this car is definitely pretty awesome looking. I really do like how these look overall. I'm not a huge fan of Infinitis, but I do respect what they're doing with cars like this. I mean, this thing looks awesome. I mean, that interior looks amazing as well with the yellow. Really am liking that. I'm sure many people are wondering, how's this car going to actually do in the street class, because we can all safely agree that the street class is very competitive in this game, and well, there's a lot of vehicles in it, and how do they actually compare to each other, and well, how's this new Infiniti going to do on the block against like the Superleggera and the Porsche, for example? Can this car actually be used in summits and all that? So I'm going to go over a top speed run, take this thing into a race, and get into it a little bit more with how this car is doing overall in this class. So I figured for the Infiniti, I head over here to the highway in the Salt Flats. I feel like this is a great place to test out vehicles. Nonetheless, though, we can all agree this car looks really good. The carbon, the yellow, the color, the spoiler. This thing looks amazing. Let's listen to it. Sounds very good as well. Let's go look at the interior now and see how this thing looks in here. And then in the back seat, you guys will notice the Infiniti and then the Renault Sport Formula 1 team, which is kind of hard to read because that's insanely blurry. Now, let's immediately go drive this car and see how it actually could do with its top speed. Now, I was honestly a little concerned with it by its initial first impressions of how this thing was actually accelerating, because I do feel like it's kind of slow compared to other cars I've driven, but let's hope that's not the case, even though I do think it's kind of slow. But it seems like it has pretty good handling, but the biggest issue with that is if the car has good handling and the speed's not there, how are you going to handle if the car ain't going fast enough, you know what I'm saying? But regardless, if the car can actually accelerate decently and have good handling, obviously that's what you're looking for in an overall street vehicle. Besides that terrible turn, let's see what we can get this car to right now. I want to see if this thing can actually do like 240, 250-ish would be pretty impressive. Some of the other really good street cars, like the Superleggera, does like 255, I believe, so it's kind of hard to touch a car like that. And some of the other cars that do like 230 kind of fall behind in a lot of the other aspects because the speed's just not there, and a lot of the races do require you to go pretty quick. And 10 to 15 miles an hour more does make a bit of a difference. So here's the full speed run right now. Gonna come off this hill here. So 241 miles an hour. Now, keeping the speed there and we're getting it above 235, you guys have to eat most of your nitrous, which I just don't think that's worth doing. You don't want to eat all your nitrous just to get the car up there like an extra 5 or 6 miles an hour, which could definitely be an issue. Now let's go see how this car will do in a race. So jumping into a street race here with the Infiniti. Now I want to test this thing out a little bit because I really do want to know how this car actually does compared to the other ones. And I think we can all agree the speed on this car isn't that great. That's what I've been noticing. And if you guys are in manual, you got to shift this thing a lot when it's starting out, obviously, because it redlines instantly because it only goes about like 6,800, I believe that is, something like that. But one thing I have been noticing about the Infiniti that does actually set apart from the other cars in this class is the handling reminds me heavily similar to the GT4 Wasp Edition, the Summit a while ago. That car was insanely stable, only did about 238 miles an hour, but my goodness, could that car turn. This car seems insanely similar to that, which is kind of weird. I was noticing that when racing a little bit, like these cars have very similar handling models to them. Like the stability of the Infiniti actually seems really good, which is kind of weird, but also a good thing because we guys are trying to do like smaller races. Like for example, the lovely Vegas Strip is only like a minute long, a minute and 50 seconds. Obviously, if you guys going as fast as possible. That race has a ton of turns in it though, and having a car that can turn very well could be something very useful in there. But where the speed is going to become an issue with something like this is even in a small race like that with a lot of turns, you still need speed to get to the turns and come out of them. And well, a car like this that struggles a bit when coming out of the turns or even going into them can definitely be a big issue. And I have been noticing that a little bit when racing this thing around. I don't really think the speed's going to really get this car up competitively where it really should be. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be driving this thing in a summit, at least what I've been noticing anyway. I could try it out in a like up and coming summit. If you guys want me to, let me know in the comments below. I could use it on a no restriction race to see how I do with it, but I don't think it's going to be used that much. If we look at the Porsche GT or the Superleggera, this car is definitely going to fall behind. I mean, 238 miles an hour, that's just not that good, but it's also not really awful, I guess, even though we have like the Chevrolet 3100 doing like 250 miles an hour, which is kind of hilarious. But having this car back at 238 will definitely be an issue competitively. And I don't know, I just feel like this car struggles a bit with speed from testing it out. It's really weird. And then I noticed when not actually using nitrous, for example, I'm doing 214 and the car's really not accelerating. It could be because I'm in the mountains, but nonetheless, like a car like this should not be struggling at 220 even to get there. I just think that's definitely going to be an issue when racing. I definitely recommend trying this car out though, guys. Let me know your thoughts on the Infiniti in the comments below, and here are my settings I'm running on the vehicle currently.